Hi everybody, welcome to the RamblingToffee podcast. I hope everybody's having a good bank holiday today and enjoying, if there's any kind of sunshine, wherever you are. Um, yes, I've been away for a while, and I come back and it's same old. Really, it's the same old performances, the same old excuses, the same old. Uh, it's just as usual pissing me off. As usual, I'm fed up with it. I'm basically fed up with it now. Not just on the field, with the performances from the players, performances from the manager, performances from off the field as well, from the owner, from failing of takeovers, new people coming in, all sorts of things. I wanted to start this podcast. I ended last podcast in optimism, positive for the future, having somebody, hopefully, Friedland Group coming in, hopefully to take over the football club and take us forward into Bramley-Moore Dock and into the new stadium and all the wonderful things that we're going to have. Players were being signed. There was an optimism element there. And then as the summers weren't worn on, Dave dropped out. We're still looking for another person to take over the football club. Obviously, John Textor is now the new person who wants to take over, but he has to get rid of his shares at Crystal Palace before he can actually take over Everton Football. How long is that going to take? Is this going to go on forever? Is there anybody else out there? I'm sorry, but I'm starting this podcast. I'm trying to be optimistic. The only optimistic thing I can talk about is the stadium. It's close to completion. It's about 11 weeks away. It's fully funded according to the club. So that's great. So that's a positive. That's over there. But I want to talk about my football club and how they play football week in, week out. That's why I support my football club. I support the team on the field. Yeah, stadium's fantastic. It'd be great when we all move in there. It's going to bring in lots of money, hopefully. It's going to be great for the future. Yes, that's for another day. And I'll just mention this if Mark's listening, Mark Thomas out there, who does the great drone footage for, the Bramley Duckmore Dock and the stadium there and everything else that he does. It's fantastic content. If you get an opportunity to follow him on Twitter or on YouTube, please go and watch his footage. It's fantastic. Plus everybody else like Mr. Drone and Baz and anybody else who was out there who does the drone footage do fantastic stuff. But hopefully Mark will be on soon and we can talk about the positives of that, of the stadium and moving forward and all the great things that that will bring in the future. But at the moment, all it's about is what all of us are as fans is how our team perform week in, week out. And we ended the season with a defeat, obviously, at Arsenal. We we did the thing that we needed to do. We got the performance in. We beat Liverpool. We played well in those games. We did what we needed to do. We were at our best at that point in time. We finished the season. If we didn't have the points deduction, we would have been in a better place. We would have been higher up. And, you would say, from my point of view and everybody else's point of view, that's a really good season, considering all the problems we have off the field, points deductions, and everything else, and the squad being so small, even for last season. Everything was in a positive sense. Even I, who have my doubts against Sean Dyche and Kevin Felwell, and I said, he's going to be here for another season. I'll get behind him. I'll support him. Hopefully, we'll improve as we come into this season. We get some players in. We do all that. As I mentioned, we got some players came, Irabunam, Ndiaye, Lindstrom, O'Brien. Even Bekovic has come back, obviously, for goalkeeping on a free. But we've got some players coming to create more opportunities in that team, to give us more creativity going forward, to get us forward better, to give opportunities to Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who is still here. That's another story I'll talk about. But he's here to get them balls in the box, to create opportunities, to have creativity and get these players who at other clubs, obviously, they haven't done well, but they've got all the potential and shown glimpses of what they are capable of and what they can. And Ndiaye specifically at Sheffield United before he went to Marseille did really well there. And he was scoring goals for fun there, and he's got all that potential. He just needs to bring it into the Premier League. Same with Lindstrom. You saw it at his time in Germany, how good a player he is and all the potential he has. And so for Imra who's been at QPR, obviously loan, obviously from Aston Villa's come in, and he's done really well in pre-season, him personally. And he deserves to be starting, and he did, obviously, against Brighton. But Obviously, Branthwaite's injured, but we start the season with that optimism that we got some players coming in. It's an opportunity for, say, let's give O'Brien a chance. I know, is he that wonderful word that Sean Dyche has said, oh, he didn't have the experience, we need Premier League experience to come in to make, into the team for the first game of the season. He went with Michael Keane, obviously, with Branthwaite, uh, Branthwaite being injured and O'Brien sitting on the bench. Sometimes I always believe take gambles, take risks. You've got to. The only way we went forward last season, when we went for a long spell last season, and that defeated Chelsea, was the manager and the players and everybody, the manager specifically, changing his view and trying something different, doing something different, getting a tracksuit on instead of his suit, changing something at the ground at Finch Farm. The players, everybody together. Let's try and fix this. Let's try something different. Let's do something different, and it worked. Because a week later, we started to get results again, and that's when we picked up. And what do wins do? Gains confidence. And okay, you know, it's the start of the season. Last season, we started the first three games, I think, with defeats, and we started last season poorly, but we picked up. And this is in a reflective mode of the Brighton game and the Tottenham game. That, yes, in the Brighton game, he starts same old from last season. Jack Harrison on one side, McNeil on the other, Decore, because he trusts them. And he helped him last season. He trusts them. And he gives them the opportunity, right, you're going to start. Dominic Calvert-Lewin up front. Irabun has to play. He's been playing well enough, so he will start. He's the only new starter from the signings that we've made. Your defence is Tarkovsky and Makalenko, who was injured near the end of the season, and Ashley Young. So you've got three players plus Pickford are the players that probably were most of last season. So there you go. And only Keane came back in, obviously because of Branthwaite being injured, but everything else is the same. And as I was on holiday and I watched that game, I just knew what was going to happen because Brighton set up the way that they do. They pass the ball around really well. They have all the possession, but they've got pace on the wing. And we couldn't deal with that pace. And the inevitability happened. You go one down, you go two down. You just knew the inevitable, and we gave up. There's no fight players. And Day came on, and you brought players on. And Strom, you gave them finally the opportunity, but with 70 minutes, an opportunity to come on to try and get a goal, make a difference. It was too late. So again, like last season, a lot of games last season, the criticism I had, and real criticism about decisions about substitutions and when you make them, and when you think it's the right time to do so, it started again. And when you as a fan can see that things need to change, and it's not just you, it's everybody in the stadium. Oh, we need to make changes. Something needs to be different. We need to try something different. He leaves it to 70 minutes, but he does like for like. Doesn't try to do something different. Try to put like a 4-4-2 scenario. Why do you put Beto and Calvert-Lewin together? Try something different. I know 4-4-2 doesn't always work, but try it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But try something different. And we saw that when, after the Chelsea defeat, try something different. It worked. Everybody was doing different, doing what, as a plan, an idea, a way. This is what we're going to do. And it worked. But it's like same old again. And that game just typified the point when biggest thing was about 1:45 before the game kicks off at 3. A team sheet comes out like that, and you're just like, what's the point? You just know what's going to happen. You just hope that we write on it straight off. But it was disjointed again. It was like they've not played with each other. It was like they're way behind on fitness. They were like, It was like the pre-season. We needed more time to be prepared for the season to start. It just felt like that. We just felt like we needed more games. We just like we needed, to be up to speed. And if you look at Brighton, you look at any of the games over the last that weekend, every team that you watched, they were up to speed. Even Ipswich, who obviously lost to Liverpool, but for a period of time, you watched them. They were getting forward. They were passing the ball right. They were ready to go, and everything was ready for. It just seems that we weren't prepared, fitness wise or anything tactically, and we've seen it throughout the summer where it was more fitness, 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 gaffer day, and everything else like that. And it was later on, you can just see in the Coventry game specifically where tactically they were better than us. Obviously, they played more games than us, but tactically it was like we didn't have any kind of tactics, and it was just like on the whim. Oh, we'll just do what we need to do and get through the game. And it was, and that's what it was. And then in the Roma game, you can start seeing there was some sort of plan, there was something there. But we started with O'Brien, played in that game. We started with we've started with the new sign. We've got the new signings in that game, played, and they came on later on in the second half, like it was, but they were made an impact straight away. But you saw in the first half, obviously with Roma winning, but you saw with the usual players that was going to start against Brighton, there was no thought. We didn't create as much opportunities in that game. You could just see. But as soon as we brought Lindstrom on and Dyer on, you started to see to get forward a bit more, get more excitable going forward, and that was what I was expecting. I was thinking, well, I think they were going to start against Brighton, but no, he went with the same team, same setup, same way, and that's what we got. The Tottenham game, as soon as again Roman Dixon came on at the start, obviously inexperienced player. Obviously, he had to play him because Ashley Young suspended, Patterson out, James Coleman out. Mason Holgate, obviously, he doesn't have any kind of trust in him. But that was another funny thing that came from the Brighton game, bringing him on after this later on for Harrison. Well, why bring him on? What was the purpose of bringing Holgate on? What was that? To shore up defence? Another strange decision. But yeah, Tottenham game. I watched, watching that game. There's certain moments, but he went with Rowan, same team to an extent in the first half, and the first two goals were, you know, terrible, terrible goals to score. The first goal was a fantastic goal, and you couldn't do anything about that one. Second one, the error by Jordan Pickford, which he doesn't make many of them, and yeah, it, two down. Um, I will put for Sean Dyche in the second half. He did bring on and Diane Lindstrom early on. We were a little bit better going forward to an extent, not much, but we were okay. Lindstrom had that shot with the goalkeeper saved, but the writing was on the wall, and that fourth goal, the third goal again from a corner from all places, because defensively last season, as we all know, defensively from corners, from everything off set pieces, we were strong in so many ways, but not on this occasion. We were just leaking goals, and that fourth one, well, it was like your centre back just going ploughing right forward from one end to the other, pass it to, they got the fourth. Just and you could understand the anger, and you understand the fed up of a lot of fans and reactions afterwards. I'm very reflective on this subject. After the game, the feeling I had at that point was, how far can he go? How far as a manager? Yes, the players go on the field, but they are told tactically or plan what we're going to do in that game. Yes, there's injuries to Branthwaite and James Coleman and others. There are injuries there, and obviously, but there's not a major amount of injuries we got in that team, and you know, but we saw it. Tottenham are they're a competitive team, got a very good squad, and we always never do well there anyway. You can look at your excuses and all that, but my thinking is that it's same as I mentioned, it's same old, same tactics, doing the same things. You're doing it and not trying anything different. The goalkeeper, yeah, that was one error, but he did make one or two saves as well. But it just seems to be pass it to Pickford, launch it, pass it to Pickford, launch it, and Calvert-Lewin with his state at the moment, and he's not performing well at all. He's trying by himself again. There's nobody helping him for drop downs. If he does get any drop downs, when he does get in his positions, he's just missing the target. His confidence is completely gone. He doesn't want to be at the football club, but he wants to leave. Obviously, that's you can tell. If he doesn't want to sign another contract, he's obviously wants to move on. That might happen this week. We'll find out. But it's how I feel at this moment in time. Those two performances, yes, it's the first two games of the season. Next week against Bournemouth at home, we'll probably win. Probably will play fantastically well. He'll probably start with Lindstrom, and Dyer will start with take Calvert-Lewin off and put Beto in that position, do something different, and we might play better. Might be just need changes. We just need to do something differently. We'll find out. We'll see tomorrow night because Doncaster obviously in the cup, and we'll see if he will start those players and see what they can do in that game. Obviously, because it's just a League Cup game against Doncaster, so we'll see how that pans out. But my thoughts on Sean Dyche, I've always said, if he can change things, this is last season. If get the players in, that was one thing. If we can get the takeover sorted, obviously that's dragging on. But if we can get it settled down, and if he can get the team playing with the squad that we currently have, and moving forward, and show something different to us to be more creative going forward, still be strong defensively, but going forward that we can create the opportunities that we can with the players that we've signed and bringing them in, and hopefully see something going forward that we can grab onto as fans and we can get behind. But it just seems to be it's same old, and it seems to be that we're seeing the same things, the same mistakes, the same plans, the same tactics over and over again. And it seems to be that's the only way he plays as a manager. And he's only here, and I still believe that he's got 1 year left on his contract. So he wanted probably another extension in his contract. But I think his job is to come in to get us to Bramley-Moore in the Premier League. And I think that is the attitude, or what I think from the owner's perspective, or the people above him. But my feeling, as I said, that if he was to come in and try something different, try a new formation, new tactics, or something different, because most coaches do. The best coaches, the great is that they set in one way, and this is how we play. But I can move players around and do this, do that, be versatile. We've got players who you can be versatile with, if an opportunity can. So he needs to try that, but he hasn't done that in these two games. He stuck to the same principle and the same way with the same players, and he's not looking at giving the players that have been brought in. Obviously, he's approved of to come in and to give them starts and get them into the games, give them an opportunity early on in the season. But if you're just sticking with the same players from last season and you're just sticking with the same tactics and the same ways, and even if you think, well, this is the tactics that I played, this is the way that I did last season, which we got results from, so I'm sticking with that because it was working. But it's not working at this moment in time. And okay, it's the first couple of games of the season. Do I think he should be leaving now at this moment in time? who's going to make that decision? They can make the decision, but you have to pay him off. But then again, he's in his last year of his contract, so can we afford to do that? Probably not. I don't know. And it's just like we're stuck with him. But if we can't perform well tomorrow night against Doncaster with probably a changed team with some of the younger players as well playing in that game, if we can't get a result against Bournemouth again and can't get a result against them, questions are being asked. And it's very, very easy for me. And I'm trying to be reflective and I try to see it from every side of the argument. A mate of mine, James, if he'll listen to this, because I'll see him on Saturday, he's putting, on social media, he's bang on about a lot of things that's going on at the moment on the field, about decisions on players and why he's gone with this decision or with that decision, and being, and saying, look, let's not overreact. Let's not get all angry about this. Let's not, it's only two games in the season. Players will come back from injury. Bradford will come back in, slot back in. Hopefully, Seamus will come back. Patterson, don't know about Patterson, but I don't think he'll be ready enough. But if Seamus can come back in, if we can get stability at the back again, then we might be stronger there. The midfield, yes, those players are not up to speed or they've just not hit form yet. They're not set straight away, but they should be. The pre-seasons that we've had this season, they're supposed to have been up for it and actually ready to go and wired in with the plan, getting the ball and getting forward and doing the things that they're there to do and doing their job, but they're not. And they're not up to speed. So that's, again, is an issue with the management, the coaching and the setup. We should be in a better position when we started the season on that field. Injuries are injuries. I'm not being critical of the management or anything else. That could be just because I think Gerard Branthwaite had an injury and he needed the operation before I think just after the England game, I think it was. So he had, he had the injury. He needed that operation. So that was not on, the coaching or the management. So that obviously is inevitability. So that's why he's, out. So hopefully he'll be back soon. But in the pre-season, yes, the first game, a couple of games, probably it's all about fitness. It's also about getting out there and playing games, playing games of football. But he didn't. But it seemed to be the fitness side of it kept on going and not even focus on tactically to get us in a tactical situation in a formation sense that all the players are comfortable with what they're doing, what their job's going to be when they start the season. And it's like we're gonna start our season properly, hopefully against Bournemouth. That these two games have gone out the way. We'll come in that game. We'll all be ready, and they'll start playing well, and then we'll be forgetting about them 2 games and just going, yay! We're finally, getting the performances. Finally, hopefully, our season is finally starting, and we're going to go forward. But I don't know. My thoughts on the manager is always been: is he the right man for the job? Is he the right man to take us forward, going forward? If we had new owners in now, like the Freedom Group, if that continued and they take over and everything was settled and in place, I don't think he'll be still manager because I think they will make a decision and they will make a decision thinking that we need somebody else to come in to actually, take this squad of players and start to build the squad and bring in a modern, new approach kind of coach because they're out there, who can come in and build a squad going forward. But it's looking likely at this moment that unless we keep on losing games of football, that question is going to be asked sooner rather than later. And the reaction from a lot of fans is what is expected. And we want to watch our football team perform and go out there and be entertained by our football club and the way we play. But when we're watching them, we're not being entertained by them. It's boring. It's tedious. It's same old. It's structured in a way that that's all we do. Go back to the goalkeeper to launch it to Calvert-Lewin to drop downs to hopefully the midfield get onto it to get forward and cross balls in and hopefully get on the end of it. It's just the same old, and that has to change, and he has to change it. And will he? We'll find out. And he seems to of late being critical of the fans. That when we win, we think we're going to be, oh yeah, we're going to be this team, we're going to go this way. We could have got into. He's going off stuff thinking that we're going to be in Europe this season. I've not heard anybody say anything about that. We were optimistic that we might have because of where we finished last season. Take the 8-point deduction out, we could go on that, grow on that, build on that, get better, and have a little bit better season, and hopefully with no points deduction thrown into it, and we can have a better season on the field. But it feels like it's going backwards again, and we're not seeing that improvement yet. We're not seeing us going forward. We're not seeing that yet. And I'm just hope that it's just a typical start of the season, like a lot of clubs have, where they don't perform well and not hitting the ground running yet. That hopefully Saturday comes and we beat Bournemouth, play really well, a lot of good performances, and then we can start moving forward. Then that's great. That would be fantastic. That would be wonderful if that can happen. But I can't see it. I can't see us moving forward. He has to make the decision to help the team that he has and the players that he has at his disposal, give them the opportunities to get forward, to change the narrative, because it's not just being picked up by us as fans and what we feel. It's being picked up, the media jumping on this now and thinking, there's a crisis, not just off the field, but on the field. The issue that happened last night, the other night at Euston Station, where one or two knobheads were abusing the players. Um, you know, it's not. 99% of fans, Everton fans, are not like that. We all condone that, but that is what sadly is happening because of a club which is fragmented in so many ways. The off the field issues, the points deductions, the PSR, the financial situation, the team itself, the squad being so small, we're not able to keep on bringing more players in. We're not able to strengthen. Well, we might be able to. I don't know. Dominic Calvert-Lewin looks like he might go in this window because he doesn't want to stay. That means that he's gone. That we'll have to focus on either bringing in another striker or Beto being the main man until Chimiti comes back and we can go from there. Neil Maupay will probably go as well. He needs to go. But there's a lot of things going on, a lot of negativity around off the field, but on the field as well. And when we've been together and we've got behind the team like we did last season, and we always have done, or the 1878s, we put all the flags out for the first game against Brighton, and all the work that they do, and getting everybody unified as one. That we're going to be together again. It's fragmented. It's just broke again, and we got to keep on going to therapy. It just feels like we have to keep on going to talk it through, to talk about and try to understand what's going on with ourselves. Or in a sense, it's the same thing that's going on the field. Is like we want to figure out what is going on, not just off the field, but on the field. Why is this not working? What's happened here? Why is the manager continue to stick with these players? Why isn't this happened? And what's happened is that we all have differing opinions. A lot of the time, it's very much the same, but it's been said in a different way. And I put it out there to the other night, Alan Myers, who put it out there thinking that, podcasting people, we should get together and just discuss everything in an honest, open environment where there's no shouting matches, no, having a go at each other. Let's just have an honest debate and understand just what is going on at our football club. Because off the field, it's all over the place. Everybody's speculating about this, speculating about that, this, that, and the other. Have we got money? Have we haven't got money? Where's this? What will we do? Will we go into administration? Will this happen? Will that happen? That's going on, and it's newspaper, media. They find little stories, they put it out there. We don't know if it's true or not. We don't know what is real, what's not real. The club doesn't communicate. So Alan Myers put a great idea out there. Let's just talk about this and try and understand what's going on. But what I'm just saying is what's not helping is not just what's Sean Dyche talking about the performances, being very critical of the fans, being his opinion on experienced Premier League. He'd rather have experienced Premier League players starting, but then he has to start somebody who doesn't have any Premier League experienced players. So it's things like that. When he says things like that, he has a little bit of a pop at the fans because we're 1 minute we're happy thinking that we're going to go this way and we're going to do well, and then all of a sudden we lose games and then we're back to thinking that we're getting relegated and we're just terrible and having to go at the players and everything else. That is because the inconsistencies are on the field, the off the field activities, everything is going on swirling around. There's so much going on. So Alan Myers was right. We should have this debate, not just for me on this podcast here, but from anybody else, because my view is this, that I respect everybody's views out there. Whatever, if differing views of mine, whatever I feel, if I feel that Sean Dyche should be sacked, if somebody else feels that's not the case, shouldn't be doing that, it's too early, or you think about what he's done last season, or from all the circumstances he had to go through. I can understand that, but all I can do is what I feel at this moment in time. So when I come off a defeat like that, and 4-0 and 3-0, and playing poorly and not performing well, being disjointed and everything else. Yes, there's injuries. One injury to Bradwaite, who I think without him, it's not helped our defensive side of it. But he's only one player. And okay, Ashley Young is out. We had to put Roman Dixon in there, but he's performed okay. You got Irabuna, who's done well in his games that he's played. So there's some one or two little positives in there that we are seeing. But the rest of the squad is same old, same old. But why aren't they going out there putting in that fight and that effort and that, or I'm not seeing it. And it doesn't matter if it's Tottenham, you should be going out there making yourself as competitive as possible, hard to beat, and as hard as you can to make it hard on the opposition to score, to create opportunities, to get forward and do the things that what we're seeing, what them teams are doing. We just like giving up. We just can't. We're not in the right positions. We're just giving the ball away. Passing is terrible still. We're not doing the things that supposedly happens in training. Supposedly it is being relayed by the manager and the coaches. This is what I want you to do. You go on the field and you don't do it. Doesn't matter who you pick. I know I mentioned that we should have tried. Why don't you try with new players start the game? Why? Just try it. Doesn't don't risk. It's early in the season. There's no risk there. Just try it. See what happens. See if they actually help the performance, help us to get forward more, to be more competitive. But the main setup that Sean Dyche has always had with the Everton teams and the Burnley teams is that it's or to set up in a way hard to beat, committed. That is the first line of what you do. Make it hard for the opposition to get past you, to get through you, to do all that. But that's been lost in these two games because it's just like, we'll just give up. Let's just let and they just get forward and plough right through you, cut right through like a knife through butter, just right through. And I don't know what it is, what's going on in the players' minds, what's their mentality, what's being relayed to them, what's going on. Now, what makes it worse is after that Tottenham game is the manager's saying he doesn't know what's happened. He can't understand what's happened here, why these performances are happening. He can't understand it. That's concerning and worryingly. That it's like for 19 months I've been building to this point, and it seems I have to start all over again. What? Who? What? If that's the case, you have to start all over again. Who's it on? We should be putting it on the players, obviously, for the performances they put in. But what is going on with the management and coaches when they're relaying that information to these players? The same stuff that they've said week in, week out, putting it out there, this is what we're going to do. And they're not doing their job, or they're not doing what is being told. Now, what's going on there? Do they trust the manager? Is it the communication that's being given to him? Can he understand explanation, simple terms, simple things? But what can you do on the field? Simple instructions. Can you understand that? What it's a two-way. I think it's not just the management and coaches here; it's the players, all of them together. All of them communicate. It's about communication. It goes back to communication here. Is that if they're communicating information to the players and say, "This is what I want you to do," and throughout the game, this is what I want you to do. This is the position you want to be. I want you to do that. That's your job, and you don't do it, and you don't get in the right positions, or you don't do this, and you're not focusing. They're not. That's on the manager. That's preparation. Manager to be instilling that into them from day one, and if then taking that information on and going on the field and they're not doing it, then why? That's the question. What do you think? Why? Why is it? What's going on here? Because they're not taking on that information to go out there and do a job. The simple thing is this: if you go out there and you set up right, we're going to be hard to break down. We're going to be defensive. We're away from home. Tottenham are a good team creatively, so let's make sure that they find it difficult to get any kind of opportunities, any chances to score a goal or anything like that. It's set up. There you go. And I watched the game, and we are defensively really well, competitively doing really well, set up really well, and doing that. But we're not creating many opportunities. But it's still 0-0, and we're doing it. All the players are doing their job, working really hard, 100% committed, and we lose in the end, maybe 1-0. But I will look back and say that was a better performance from the game against Brighton, I can say, because we worked hard, we put the effort in, we were competitive enough that we stayed in the game long enough. We may even got ourselves in 1 or 2 opportunities, but it was a good performance. I'll take that as a start of the season. It's a solid performance. Okay, we lost, but it's a stepping stone to where we're going to go. And then that moves to the Doncaster game, where it may be different. And we win, and we get a bit of confidence from the win, hopefully tomorrow. We're going to Bournemouth, and it's another stepping stone. We get a win there, and then confidence comes back in, and then we start to see what we saw for periods of last season. We started to see us move forward. But the biggest question is all about communication here between the manager and coaching setup and the players, and what is being relayed. What's been worked on in training throughout the week? What's our plan? Because they've worked on a plan, obviously, set up, and it's not worked. So you see, this is when my doubts with Sean Dyche here, plan Bs and Cs and whatever else, is when that is not working. You have to do something different. Those players are professional players. They are supposedly Premier League players. They will know to adapt to change and do something different. Let's see if we try this. Let's see if we try that. That's his job. It's not my job. I like to speculate in what I think the formation will look like, what I think this player could do, what I think that player can do. It's his job. He's paid the money if things are not working to try something different. So the question is going to be, is that we go into this week, we may lose Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He might not be here for the Bournemouth game. I don't know. We'll find out. But the question is that if we see a much improved performance against Bournemouth, playing better, the plan's working, the formation's working, the tactics are working, everything is setting right, and we get a better performance in that game, then I can say, okay, he's obviously the last game he's thought, right, we need to walk away and start looking at what we need to do to change this, restart again, and let's see if that helps, whatever. If we start to see that, then okay, let's see how the season goes. But if it doesn't, the questions is going to be asked of the manager. Yes, the players go out and perform, but the players takes that information from the manager and the coaches to do that job. And if it's not, and if they're not taking that, then that information on, and they're not doing their job, then it's you either drop some of those players and try something else, which we can't do at this moment in time because we've only got a very small squad. So we have to stick with the players like that are currently there. But we have got some players that we've signed. You just start them, do something different. It goes back to that. It's trying different things. But again, it's down to communication. And as I mentioned, not just on the field on that form, it's off the field. I think communication is a massive thing, and we don't have it. Off the field, Moshiri doesn't communicate at all about anything and everything. He's an absent owner. He wants to sell his stake, and we don't know what's going on regarding John Texter or any other people who are interested in the club. It's just like just communicate when that information is available. But fans now need to know this needs to be rectified sooner rather than later because social media is is a terrible place to be at the moment when it being an Everton fan because everything is all about the manager, should he be there or shouldn't he be there, or a couple of idiots at a train station having a go, swearing, having a go at the players. You've got that going on. You've got the manager having a little bit of a go at some of at the fan base for certain things. And it's not needed. We need to be a unified front. Everybody's together. Everybody getting behind the team. Doesn't matter. And just hope that the next game we get the results and we can move forward and we can be in a positive frame of mind that we can start our season and have hopefully an okay season and just go forward without any kind of other issues going on. But we need clarification on where this club's going off the field. What's happened with John Texter? Is it genuine? Is he going to take over? Is it going to be soon? Is it going to drag on to January? Is this going to drag on and on and on and on and on? Where we're going to get the next lot of money to keep the lights on, keep the club going forward, because that actually has to happen. So hopefully it's in the mind. But I just wish that the club communicates to its fan base, to its stakeholders, to the people who pay the money to go to home and away games, to shareholders, to fans in general, just so we can understand what is going on. Is our future bright? And we've got this brand new stadium, yes, but we still have to get there. How are we going to get there? Have we got the right owners, the right people, right off the field? But that communication needs to happen, and we need to put that pressure on the club to actually start doing that or on Moshiri to start talking to us more about the future of that. I'm not referring to the stadium. I'm referring to the club in general. That where are we going? Where are we heading to? Because it's all about the stadium, which is fine in getting there, but are we going to get there? And we need the right people to take us forward. Obviously, it's not going to be Moshiri, but he's not communicating. He doesn't want to communicate, and it's down to, like as Alan Myers has said, that we need to all get together. Let's talk about off the field, on the field, players, this, that, and the other, and have a adult discussion about it, and not shout at each other and then not argue. You can disagree, that's fine, but come to some solution that as a fan base, that we're all in it together, that we'll get behind the team and behind the players. That's what we all want to do, and we will do. We'll continue to do so, and I will. Every game that I go to, I'll get behind him. if it's watching on TV as well, I'll get behind him 100%. I want them to do well. I want them to be, successful. I want them to be better than we currently are. I want these two games to be a blip. I want even the manager to be fantastic and turn everything around and be absolutely wonderful. But people know my opinion about Sean Dyche. People know my opinion of Kevin Felwell. I feel they're not right for this club. I just feel that, the way that we play currently, and we've seen it throughout the whole time, that it's not right for this football club. And I feel in the future that will change when that time's right. Hopefully with new owners in, and we can move forward in a, hopefully in a better way. But that's my view. Sean Dyche is here. He's not going to get sacked today or next week or whatever. But if we keep on getting results like that, sadly, there's going to be the questions asked. But as I said, I will keep on going to the game and get behind the team 100%, and I'll do everything that I can as a fan to get behind my club. And I want them to do well. I want things to be sorted off the field. I want to be talking positively about our final season. Sad finally our final season at Goodison Park, to talk about the history of the football club and all the great memories that we have here at Goodison before we move into the new stadium. I want it to be all about that more, and going to the games and actually enjoying the game of football, enjoying the feeling of sitting in your seat at Goodison and the atmosphere and the feelings that you get, and having all that and all the evening games and everything else that goes along with the season that we want it to be. But at the moment, everybody's sort of just broke away, and it's just like we need to all get back together, not just the fans, the team. Everybody needs to be with as a one, and it needs to be not just off the field with the club itself. Everybody needs to be together as one, supporting one another, getting behind one another, getting behind the team, getting behind it. But when you see performances like that in the last two games, it's hard and it's difficult to walk away from. Difficult to like just walk away from it. I've fed up. We've had enough of this, and that's what fans are like at the moment. We're just fed up with seeing the same things, seeing the same kind of performances, seeing the same situations. You know, we've got a very small squad again. It's just never ending. So yes, there we are. Thank you for listening to my rambling today. There's a lot been put in. There's probably a lot more things I want to talk about, which I'll talk more in my next podcast, which will be next Monday. But yeah, hopefully this week will be more an optimistic week, a positive week. But stay safe, everybody. We'll get there. We'll get through this as usual. As fans, it's just another bump in the bloody road, and I just hope that bump doesn't, get bigger and bigger, and and turns into a hole. And I just hope that we can start picking up results. We need to be, try to be as positive as possibly can, but it's difficult when your team are performing like that. This team and not playing well. And I just hope that from the Doncaster game and the Bournemouth game that we can see more of a positive results going forward. We'll just have to wait and see. So on that note, thank you again for listening and watching. Do appreciate it. The support and everything else. I want to grow this more and more. Hopefully, I'll be having Mark on at some point to talk about the stadium, and it's great content out there, and plenty of other things going forward. So, as being an Evertonian, hopefully we'll have we'll finally have a good week. Hopefully, that's all I can think of. All I can say is hopefully. So again, thank you very much for listening. I hope you all have a good week, and we'll speak again next Monday. This is the RamblingToffee signing out. Take care and have a good week. Bye bye.